everyone. This is Brigitte of Brigitte's She Shed. This is my video podcast where I get to share my love of fiber-related things, mainly knitting, crocheting, and sewing, and other shenanigans. Welcome to episode 3. It's yarn o'clock somewhere, which means grab your knitting, your crocheting, beverage of choice, coffee. I have iced tea, and sit back and hopefully enjoy what I have to share with you today on what's been going on since my last podcast back on May 11th. I decided to do something a little different today. I'm sitting in my backyard underneath the patio. You can see the plants and everything in the back. It is 91 today already. It's just a little afternoon here in the United States in southeast Arizona. So again, I just would like to say thank you to all of those who have watched my previous episodes, and thank you to all of my new viewers that are watching. I appreciate it so much, and all of your comments. All of the information on how to find me and contact me will be listed in the show notes description box below. Please make sure that after viewing you give me that thumbs up and that you subscribe. I love subscribers. All right, so let's get to it. I have I'm just checking my notes so I don't miss anything. I have two finished objects to show you today. One of which I am wearing. Ta-da! I finished my Ranunculus sweater by Midori Hirose, and it's out of Cascade Yarn Ultra Pima cotton. It is beautiful. The fit is wonderful. I will insert some pictures of me standing up wearing it, but I love it so much. I made the smaller neckline. If you go to episode 2, I have more details on it, and I just love the way it fits. Like I said, it's 91 today. It's very, very nice to wear. I have a cami on underneath it, but it is just gorgeous. And I have yarn already selected to make another one, and I will show you that at another episode. But it's all done. It's all finished. My ranunculus, my first ranunculus. So this is garment number 6 for my year of the garment. I established for 2022 as being the year of the garment. I've been knitting for over 50 years, but I had never made any garments. So this is garment number 6 so far this year. Great. Okay, my second finished object is a pair of socks. And these socks I actually started in February as part of a knit along for Moonglow Yarns. Whitney is the indie dyer with Moonglow Yarns, but I didn't finish them for the cow for Valentine's Day. But I did finish them a couple of days ago because I am in the process of clearing the needles for the upcoming summer sock camp 2022 with Kay Litton. She's the crazy sock lady, and this will be the 3rd year that she's had this sock knit along, and so I'm clearing my needles for that because the cast on day is on Saturday, May 28th. So if you're interested in that, I'll have the information down below. But here are the socks. And they are just gorgeous. I love this color. Hopefully the camera is picking up the color. I'll insert some pictures as well. This yarn is just beautiful. This pattern is beautiful. And it is Love. The name of the pattern is Love Struck Hearts by Terri Knight. And I just slipped it off the blocker. So there's hearts. There are 6 hearts running down the front, all the way down to the toe. And there are 2 hearts on the back, and the slip stitch heel here. So that is just beautiful. And it's a very, very easy pattern to follow. I don't know why it took me so long to finish them and get them off the needles. I just got distracted, probably with casting on something else. So I went through all of my sock bags to see what I had, you know, that I was working on that I needed to finish. And I came across this pair of socks. So as usual, these were made on a size 0, a US 0, and that's a 2.0 millimeter, and 64 stitches, and I have a rounded toe on here. And this cuff here, it has a ribbed cuff, but I didn't do, that's one of the changes I made. I didn't do the ribbed cuff. What I did was what's called a peekaboo cuff, and Stephanie at Edible Thoughts has this recipe for this cuff, and it's so easy to do, and I will make sure that I put that link in the description box. Everything that I discuss, I always put links to. Okay, but I really like this. And the yarn, this was the bag that it was in for Valentine's Day, the Snoopy and Woodstock. And this bag is by 3 by the Sea Designs. You know, I love their products. But the yarn is Moonglow, and this was their Galentine sock set, and it's 75% superwash, 25% nylon, and 120 grams. I should put my glasses on. And this set, which I believe she still has in her shop, again, I will link all the information. Yes, and there was 555 yards, 507 meters. And this is the yarn. This is what I had left of the contrast for the cuff and the toe. And this was the yarn. It's kind of blowing out. It's a beautiful, like raspberry pink color. I just love it. And it is so squishy. I don't know what she does to her yarns, but her base is just so squishy. Excellent yarn dyer. I love her stuff. I have more stuff to knit from Whitney with Moonglow. Can't say enough. So that's my 2 finished objects. Like I said, I'm clearing my needles. So the next item that's a part of clearing my needles, which we will now go into the whips, which are works in progress, is another pair of socks. that I actually need to go grab. Hi, I'm back. I had to go get my whip to show you. For some reason, I forgot to bring it out. But anyway, like I said, I'm clearing off my needles in preparation for Summer Sock Camp 2022 with the Crazy Sock Lady. And one of the socks that I had started back in October of 2021 was, I call it Summer Rib Vanilla Shorty. Something that it's just a vanilla sock that I kind of added my own little twist to it. Here it is. This is one sock is finished. And this sock is just, like I said, a vanilla sock with a 3x1 rib. And instead of doing the traditional rib on the cuff, I did a knitted cuff with a picot edge. And so what I do here is I just I knitted the cuff 10 rows and then did a row of knit two together, yarn over all the way around, and then did another 10 rows and folded it over, and then picked up the cast edge and the live stitches and knit around. So it's just very, very, very easy to do. It's sort of, if you follow the peekaboo edge from Stephanie with Edible Thought Makes. It's just a little bit of a takeoff from that, from her recipe, by just adding the picot, which is very easy. Knit two together, yarn over. And I like that very much. The heel, Shadow Wrap heel by Denise with Earth Tone Girls. The yarn is beautiful, squishy yarn. This is from Essence of Autumn. And Cheryl is the indie dyer behind Essence of Autumn. And this is her Gilded Merino base. And let me tell you about this base. It is here. This base is 84% superwash merino, 16% gold stellina, and 420 yards. This was my first time using her yarn, and it is beautiful. I decided to do a fun little contrast here on the end. There's little purple flecks in here, and so I did just a purple toe, rounded toe. This I went stash diving for. This. I have no clue as to what this yarn is. There's no label anymore. It's just a big old huge cake sitting in my shelf in my yarn room, my craft room. But so when I picked this back up earlier this week, I had the leg done, and I was getting ready to start the heel. And this little white line that you see, again, that's just my lifeline for my heel. So I've made this whole sock, and then I started on, oh, it's a little windy. I started on the second sock, and I am in the process of turning the heel. And here's my little stitch markers for me to put in as I go down the leg. I love these little light bulbs. And here's my progress keeper. It's a little bumblebee from 3 by the Sea. I'm actually in the middle of a row, but I'm using the method of 2 circulars. 2 circular needles. And these are a US 0 2.0 millimeter, and they're 16 inches long. And I like sometimes doing socks if I don't want to deal with, it's just like doing magic loop, but they're just on two circulars, but there's not as much, I don't think to me there's as much pulling and sliding action has to happen. So I like this method. I cast on 64 stitches, and because this is a plumper yarn, the socks are a little looser, so I could have actually went down to, I believe, a 56 cast on. So if I do this again with yarn that's plumper than a 75-25, I think I will drop down and cast on 60. But it's, again, it's just a simple 3x1 rib all the way around. And I don't think by being outside you can pick up the gold flecks in here. But this is beautiful yarn. So that is another item that I am clearing off of my needles. Hopefully I can get the second sock finished by Saturday cast on party. The cast on starts at, I think, at 4 o'clock Eastern time. So I should have plenty of time, I think. Even if I don't get it finished, I'm still casting on. So you can never have too many cast-ons. Don't judge me. All right, so my next item that I would like to talk about is my long-term whip that I haven't mentioned yet. And that is my half and half triangle wrap. I like working on wraps. I'm not a big blanket person, but I do like working on wraps to have something that's just that I can just work on, and I can pick it up at any point and just continue with it. I don't need a pattern to always have to look at. So there's a lot of buzz about the half and half wrap. And again, I'm late to the party because I typically don't do garments. I do socks and small shawls, but this is pretty big. So anyway, this is one of my favorite bags. And this is housing my half and half. And this is a free pattern from Purl Soho. Those of you that aren't familiar with it. And it's a wrap that it comes in 2 sizes, a large and a small. And the large is really large, or I'm sorry, a big and a bigger is actually what the pattern says. And you can cast on, the big is 190 stitches and the bigger is 260. But Stephanie with Edible Thoughts Makes did some recalculations, and she came up with a size that's sort of in between, and it's 230 stitches. So I thought, I think I'm going to try that. So without further ado, let me bring it out. And here is my half and half. It's just all garter stitch. all garter stitch and some short rows, and I've chosen to do German short rows. The pattern calls for wrap and turns. They even include a really nice video. I just don't like wrap and turns, and I do something wrong because I end up getting holes. So I really like the German short row method. So let me show you, let me talk about the yarn, because it is so pretty. I love this color. So the yarn is, I may have to stop this because the trash truck is coming by. We'll see. So the yarn that I'm using is by Purl Soho. It's their linen quill, and this is colorway is blue, blue, and blue is 439 yards, 100 grams, fingering weight, and it is 50% alpaca, 50% fine Highland wool, 35% alpaca, and 15% linen. So my first triangle is blue, and my second triangle is going to be gray denim. This is also linen quill. So with the two of them side by side, so one triangle is the blue, and the other triangle is going to be the gray denim. I think that's gorgeous. And I caught a sale at Linen Quill, so I have yarn combinations to make 2 more. And I'll show you those once I get there. So that's my yarn. I want to talk a little bit about the needles that I'm using. These are called Lantern Moon, and this is their ebony series. And the needles are, I love the needles. They're like a wood, but wood finish. And the cords are a nice steel cord. As you know, I'm a Chalgo lover, but I do like to branch out and try different things. So I did try out, I saw these, I did try out the fixed. They have interchangeable set too. And so I did try out this fixed set. And this is a US 3.25 millimeter, 40 inches. I like the way the yarn doesn't catch as it slides between the cord and coming up on the needle. And also there's a little join right here. I can feel it with my nail, but as the yarn comes over, it doesn't snag. So it's great. The tips are really nice. Only problem that as I was saying, the only problem that I have with the needles is the fact that all of the information, and you can't see it, it rubbed off. So you can barely see it there. I have no clue what needle this is now. if I was to just take this off, if you know, I keep my containers that they come in and slide them in, but I have no way of knowing what needle this is. So if you know, you can make a suggestion, and I even contacted the where I purchased these, and they told me that, you know, that's what happens with them. If I wanted to send them back, they would give me a refund. They would replace them if I wanted that, but more than likely it's going to rub off. And this rubbed off after 1 day of knitting. And that is my only downfall, is in the future I won't know what needle I'm using. So Lantern Moon, if you can do something about that, maybe, you know, embossing it or etching it on, or even etching it maybe here, like how last episode I showed you how Knitter's Pride etches it onto this area, like of the needle. Maybe they can do something like that. But other than that, they're smooth. It's very rhythmic, warm in your hands. Nice. Okay. It's my half and half triangle wrap. Okay. All right, so next up I have, let me just check my notes here. Oh, my favorite part is coming up now. My sips section. Sips. Stuff I've purchased. So let me take a sip before I start the sips. Oh, and I'm drinking iced tea, and this is out of my tumbler from Grocery Girls, Tracy and Jody, which was one of the first video podcasts that I watched on YouTube, and I fell in love with the two sisters. Okay. So let's see. Oh, April 30th here in the United States was LYS, Local Yarn Store Day. So I typically have been buying my yarns online, because the local yarn store, the closest local yarn store to me, is over 30 miles away. And with everything being on lockdown, and I was trying to make sure that I was staying safe, I had not ventured out to the yarn store in 2 years. So this was quite a treat for me to get out and go to local yarns, to celebrate Local Yarn Store Day and support our local yarn store, which is Grandma's Spinning Wheel. So I went to the store, and the hubs came with me because, you know, somebody has to carry the packages. But I was so overwhelmed by all of the yarn. Maybe because I looking at yarn, you know, online, you don't get that sensory overload. But walking into their beautiful shop, my mind just went crazy, seeing everything and seeing all the samples, seeing all the different yarns, the colors, the smell. Oh, and I just love the smell. So I had a hard time trying to, you know, figure out what I wanted to buy. But over in the corner, one corner, I spied a section, which is they feature a local indie dyer that dyes exclusively for Grandma's Grandma's spinning wheel, and it's SR Pepper Fiber Studio, and the dyer behind SR Pepper is Sandy, and I spied this. Can you see the stellina? And of course, it's purple. So I picked this up and I just had to have it. And the reason why it's taken so late for me to show it is because they only had one skein and I wanted another skein, and they contacted the dyer for me, and she so graciously dyed another skein for me. So I had to wait for that whole process to happen. And last week I got a call saying you can come and pick up your yarn. It's ready for you. So this is colorway is called Royal Purple, and it's 400 yards, 70% merino, 20% nylon, and 10% stellina. And it is yummy, 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 yummy. So I have 2 skeins of this gorgeous, gorgeous yarn. My plans are to do a love note, I believe, and I think I have some purple mohair in my stash, so I got to look to see, but I do believe I have some in there to make a love note out of this. I think it would be beautiful. Or maybe something else if I run across something else. We'll see. But that was sip number 1 from Grandma's Spinning Wheel here in Arizona. Whip number 2 I'm really excited about. And this is you're gonna love this. From MYak Tibetan Fibers. Isn't that gorgeous? I wanted some MYak. I first saw MYak on the Grocery Girls video podcast, and I've been wanting some for the longest. And I was watching another video podcast here about 2 weeks ago, and that was called Knitting with Kim and Jonah. And they just recently started a video podcast, and they're 2 friends. You have got to check them out. They podcast from their local yarn store in Mount Kisco, New York, and the name of that store is called Pick Up Every Stitch. Yeah, Pick Up Every Stitch Yarn Store. I don't know why I'm having a hard time saying that. So Kim and Jonah have decided to do on their podcast their very first knit along. And with their knit along, they're in collaboration with MYak Fibers and Isabel Kraemer, the knitting designer. So this yarn is 50% baby yak and 50% silk. So this color is MYak. This color is called Ananda. See if it'll focus. There it goes. And this color that I bought is called Gelso. And the pattern that I am going to make for this cowl, and this cowl starts June 2nd and it runs until, I believe, August 31st. If you go on either MYak's YouTube channel or Knitting with Kim and Jonah's YouTube channel. They have all of the information there. Like I said, I'll link everything. The Isabel Kraemer pattern I've chosen is called Dingley Dell. And these are the two colors that I will be striping. So I'm really, really excited about this knit along to happen. Whether or not I will get it completed by August 31st, I don't know, because I'll also be involved with the summer sock camp, and also sock week will be starting soon from the Love and Stitches podcast, which is knitting with Knitting Natalie with Knitting Natty. But what I can say is about this yarn, getting back to this yarn, I can't wait to cake it up. This MYak with this silk, oh my gosh, it is so soft. I can't wait to see how it's going to feel to swatch. And that's what I really should be doing is I'm going to cake this up maybe tonight and start my swatch to watch my gauge. And I purchased it from the yarn store. They're in Mount Kisco, New York, which is Pick Up Every Stitch. I call them up on the phone, says, hey, I'm watching the podcast. I'd like to order some yarn. Will you ship it to Arizona? And they said, no problem. What colors do you like? So I gave a range of colors. They actually put the colors together for me, snapped a picture, sent me pictures, and then I told them which one I wanted and did it. So Karen and Felicia, you guys are awesome. So I now have a local yarn store in addition to the one that's in my own state. I have one that's out of state, but I consider you my local yarn store. I ordered it, and I didn't do the special express shipping, but I got my yarn in 2 days, just through regular post office. 2 days, I got my yarn. I can't believe it. It's like, wow, that was fast. So they've now become my new local yarn store. Pick Up Every Stitch, Karen and Felicia, Mount Kisco, New York. Oh, forgot to mention about the sweater. You know, this isn't scripted, not too much. And you use a size 3 needle, US 3, 3.25. And I tend to knit, I think I'm a loose knitter, so we'll have to see if this gauge will work for me. But it's mainly all stockinette. Well, not mainly, it is all stockinette. So I think this should be really easy and fun. Dingley Dell. Make sure you check out the info on the cow on Knitting with Kim and Jonah. All right, my next sip is a pattern. And this I decided is what I'm going to cast on tomorrow for the summer sock camp. And it is the Mermaid Avenue socks by Summerly Designs. Wind is starting to come up. And I am going to use from my April of this year, 2022 Yarnable by Hypnotic Yarn. That's Shorl. I'm going to use this yarn, which is Mermazing. So the pattern is called Mermaid Avenue, and this yarn is called Mermazing. This is just gorgeous. Gorgeous, gorgeous for, I think, for the summer. Now, I need a contrast for the cuff and the toe. So I'm either going to use some bare natural undyed yarn that I have, because there are some lighter colors in here. If you can see it. Or I may do some sun dyeing of yarn since it's so warm, to try to get maybe like a aqua. So if I do, I will maybe videotape that and insert that in as well before I publish this. So I think probably tomorrow I might dye some yarn to match the cuff. So to match the cuff, I will dye some yarn for the cuff and the toe to match the yarn. But I just love this. So that is going to be one. I'm going to cast this one on for sure for Saturday's cast on party. And then the last sip that I have is another pattern that I acquired and yarn that I acquired or purchased sip. And this one is called the Oh Hello Shorty Socks. Wind's starting to blow. And these are by Deb Buckingham. And this is the beautiful yarn that I will be using. And this is from Rose Hill Yarns. This is called Blackberry Macaron. Robin is the dyer. She's a Canadian indie dyer. I love her yarn. My very first hand-dyed yarn purchase was with Robin of Rose Hill Yarns. This yarn is 463 yards with a 92 yard, let me start over. 463 yards, 100 grams. It's the full skein. And then there's a 20 gram mini, which is 92 yards. And it's 75% superwash merino and 25% nylon. And again, I will make sure I put the link below. You've got to check out Robin's website. She has beautiful, beautiful yarns, beautiful dyer, great customer service. So this is going to be my Oh Hello Shorty Socks. So what I might do is actually cast these on first while I'm dyeing the contrasting yarns for my Mermazing yarn. Okay. All right. Well, that's all I have for you today with my episode. Please leave your comments or any questions that you may have, or maybe any ideas or things that you would like to see on the video podcast. I definitely will take everything that you have to offer and take it to heart and review it. And because I want this, to be our space. All right. Please, everyone, this has been a rough 2 weeks for us all here in the U.S. So please, everyone, please stay safe and take care of yourselves. Love up on one another. Do things that bring you joy. Make sure you always let those that you love know how much you love them. And stay healthy and be blessed. Until next time, love you. Bye-bye.